And now we're going to have a few testimonies from some individuals who've directly benefited through Road to Purity. We're going to start with our very own Steven Caswell. He is currently the Director of Clergy and Donor Relations for Road to Purity, and he is a proud alumnus of our Restoring God's Foundation program. Please welcome Steven Caswell.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Steven Caswell, and I'm here tonight to share my testimony about how Road to Purity and Grace of God have completely transformed my life. I have battled with pornography and sexual impurity for the last 26 years. This fight for me started at the young age of 7 years old and continued into my adult life. Over time, I began to lose my relationships with my family, my friends, and little by little, I became utterly and totally alone. Relapse after relapse led to the loss of my identity and continuous feelings of misery that pervaded my mind. In my addictions, I reached a point of despair. I was ready to give up on life, and I didn't know where to turn. I needed to find help with my sins. I've tried other programs in the past, and I just couldn't quite seem to find the help that I truly needed. I asked God to lead me in a search for a program that could help me to be free from these addictions. Within 1 week, a friend of mine came home from the Catholic men's retreat, and he brought me a handful of cards that read, "Restoring God's Foundation." He said to me that he didn't understand why, but he heard God telling him to bring these cards to me. So he did. And I thank God this friend was listening, because little did I know at the time, this Catholic Men's Integrity Program would start the restoration process of my relationship with God through the sacraments of the Catholic Church. One item to note here is that the Restoring God's Foundations program is provided at no cost to the addict, which for me eliminated any hesitation to get started right away. Also, because of the generosity of donors such as yourselves, the resources Road to Purity provided to Catholic parishes reached me when I needed them most. With the help of Holy Mother Church and Road to Purity, I realized I wanted to love and I wanted to be loved, which is exactly what God created me for. My heart began to open up to the possibility that God loved me, created me for a purpose, and would reveal to me my true identity in Christ, that I am a beloved Son of God. I would be remiss if I did not mention all of the one-on-one counseling that Dan Ungst helped me with, that I received from him. And he is, as you know, the president and founder of Road to Purity. My life is forever transformed because of the willingness of one man and his family to respond to God's call to love him above all else and to love one another. Thank you, Dan, for answering the call to serve those struggling with addictions, such as mine, and sacrificing your time to be there for me and help guide me out of the darkness and into the light of God's love. Because of Road to Purity, I am now part of an online men's group called the Simon Community, where we help each other carry the crosses of these various addictions. As a member of this community, I've experienced a sense of belonging by praying with these courageous men, joining my brothers in Christ for the weekly online meetings, as well as from the accountability partners who have supported me in this battle to grow in holiness, chastity, and purity. In closing, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. And a sincere thank you to those who are watching from home for all of your prayers and all of your support. May God bless you and your loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. And now I'd like to introduce our next testimony. Father Dan Barron, he's the director of the Lanteri Center for Ignatian Spirituality, and he has been instrumental in some of the work that we've been doing, especially some of the stuff we've done at the seminary. So please give a warm welcome to Father Dan Barron.
First, an observation. I want to thank Dan for the quality of your products and the beauty of them that I think Cassie has a hand in. I think part of the problem in the porn culture is a lack of authentic beauty in our world. We're far too commercial, pragmatic instead of elegant. And your stuff is always beautiful. Those rosaries are well made and beautiful. Thank you for the quality. So as was said, in 2012, came to St. John Vianney Theological Seminary as the director of spiritual formation, and it became apparent immediately that seminarians coming from our culture had the same problems as everybody else with pornography and masturbation, and it really wasn't being addressed. It was like we were afraid to talk about it. And over the years, I tried various things and support groups to help address it. And then Dan came on the scene and had this Restoring God's Foundation program, which I have to say is psychologically and theologically sound, and probably the most thorough program that I've encountered over the years. There's others that were created by seminary staff in Kenrick Glennon Seminary, for example, and I think Dan's is better. Not to mention all the free video content and the counseling that Dan gave. And when I met Dan, I was struck by his humility and authenticity. He didn't go to some university to study addiction. Jesus Christ taught him how to get free. And it was just very authentic and real. And I knew I wanted to work with him. And over the years, he's facilitated many groups of seminarians. And we encourage them to learn about this, because if they don't struggle themselves, even if they don't struggle themselves, they're going to have to help people as pastors to deal with this addiction and to hear confessions. And Dan also brought in his experience the fact that he's been to confession thousands of times in his life and heard some really bad things from priests, very unhelpful things from priests. So when the men are in their fourth year of theology, we have him come to the confession practicum and talk about what kind of penances do you give addicts? And what do you say that's helpful and not discouraging? All of which the men have taken into their ministry and are helping thousands more because of the work that Dan has done at the seminary. So I'm super grateful for what you're doing for priests, for seminarians, and for all of us. May the work continue for many years to come.
Thank you so much, Father Barron. I'd like to introduce our last testimony. He is also graduate of some of our programs and has been a great friend to Road to Purity and a great supporter. Please welcome Ron Schmitz.
Hi, my name is Ron Schmitz, as he said. When I was a young boy growing up in the Denver area, I had problems with pornography, and it was mainly Playboy. That's all we had, which I'm grateful it was. And the thoughts and the that came with it. I knew this was wrong, but it brought me too much comfort. I came from an alcoholic home, and I had problems with my father. I don't think he really received, how to put it. In the end, I think he rejected me, and I was not loved by him, and that proved hard for me to let God love me. But as I got older, I got away from the magazines because I knew this stuff was not going to help me, but they were there if I needed them. I did receive some help back then, but it was not enough. As I got older, at the age of 23, I married my wife, Patty, and we've been married 50 years. And the best gift I ever had given to me was Jesus, but the second best was my wife. And I'm grateful for that. I wouldn't be here without her. For several years, these thoughts and things went away. Then in the early 90s, I wanted to get closer to Jesus, and these thoughts seemed to come back. Funny how the devil works that. It was a battle to find any help back then, because pornography seemed as a good thing for the world. But with the help of pioneers such as Patrick Carnes, people started realizing that it destroyed lives. I sought help, but it was hard to find. In 2021, I had a health scare that kept me in the hospital for 3 months. And I knew as I lay on that hospital bed that God wanted me to take care of this finally. I'd been fighting for 20 years, but nothing seemed to help. Finally, a couple of years ago, I found Road to Purity. I started the foundation program and joined the support program, the Simon Community. I thank God I ran into Road to Purity. They're the first Catholic program that incorporates the sacraments that I know of. And the sacraments to me are like a healing balm on my soul. A few months into the program, God connected me with the founder, Dan Unks. He and I are able to talk on a regular basis. This program has helped me tremendously. I must admit there are times when I still fight the thoughts, and I fight surrendering to God, and that's back from my childhood. But God is faithful, and I know He loves me. The surrender is the toughest part, I think, not for just me, but for everybody. As you may be able to tell, I have Parkinson's, and my visible symptoms become more prominent when I am stressed or very tired. When I use the prayers that the program offers, and I receive the sacraments on a regular basis and talk to Dan, there are times when the symptoms go away or are dramatically reduced. There are those who I've talked to who think this isn't a problem. But I said, "Do you believe in the devil?" I said, "Well, I've seen the devil, and I know this stuff is a problem." The journey over the last few years, which has been very hard for me and for those around me, I know I'm closer to Jesus, and quite honestly, that's what it's all about. I don't know what I would have done without Road to Purity. It has helped me tremendously and changed my direction. I support Road to Purity, and I encourage you to too. Thank you.